Bakers, how do we get our food inside the little plastic baggies? It's really two steps. One is filling the bag and the other is sealing it. If you do a search online for bakery packaging machinery, 9 times out of 10 it's going to show you a flow wrapper or a sealing machine, which is not a form and fill machine. So just to be clear, form and fill is getting the product, filling, getting the product inside the bag. Forming is instead of putting the product in a bag, the bag is formed around the product. So if we talk about flow wrappers, you put your bare product on a conveyor line, plastic is formed around the product, and then as it travels along, it is heat sealed along the bottom, and then at either end, and chucked out the other end. Very simple. Those machines will cost you tens of thousands of pounds, and they're huge. If you're not at that stage, then you're looking at sealing machines. There are not really too many filling machines. There aren't machines to fill the bags for you. You got to buy the bags, you got to open them, put the food in, or you've got to form the plastic yourself around the product, hold it, and then seal it. So most of the machines that you're going to see are sealing machines, and I've got an example of a few machines here to show you. The only exception to that really is the L sealer, and it's still very manual. You push the food into plastic, it's folded plastic. So you open the folded plastic, push the food in, and pull the handle down, and that effectively forms the plastic around it and seals it. But it's very manual, and it's not a great seal. It's good for fresh bakery products. So breads, biscuits and cakes that you're doing on the day, tray bakes and things which are going to be fairly short shelf life anyway. If you're looking at going into retail and you want it to stay in a bag inside the box for 6 months, a year, even 2 years, then you need a really good seal, something like what the flow wrappers give. The other way to do it is a much more manual process of heat sealing. So I've put together a few videos that I found online that will show you some of the different types of bagging machine. The only other exception to that is the form filling machines. So typically they are gravity fed. So if you think of bags of dog food, the bag opens, the dog food pours in. So it can be any kind of dry food, or you think of Maltesers, they're a loose product and they fall into the bag. That's vertical form fill seal, so VFFS. I've got an example of one of those machines as well. But for most bakery products, they are a dry, solid form. So they can travel along conveyor belts, they can be lifted and fed into a bag. So I've got some examples here, and this will give you an idea of what's in the marketplace. All different types of variations out there, but these are the key to a half dozen types of machine that you're looking at. So this is your typical flow wrapper. Huge machine, very complex, but very precise. So here it's taking a roll of printed film and wrapping it around the product. So it's forming it over the top of the product, sealing it underneath, so it's being heat sealed underneath the product, and then that rotating fin is giving you your end and your start seal. Some of them can be printed on as well as it goes through the machine, so that gives you your date and batch code. So there you can see the rotating fins coming around. So they heat and melt through the plastic. So they give, some of them have a blade in them, which actually cut rather than melt, but it's a heat seal and divides the packages up. So this is the VFFS, or vertical form fill seal type of machine I was talking about. So gravity fed, the material or the product is dropped into the bag and then it's sealed. This is a basic heat sealer. Some of them have a blade, some of them just melt through, but they're basically sealing the bag there. And once it's sealed through, just releases it. So your typical cereal bag, this is how it's closed. This is a automatic L sealer. So it's also a shrink wrap. So it's sealing in an L shape, but it's also sucking the air out of the bag. So this fully encloses it, makes it airtight. Some of these are pedal operated, so you can have the product being fed at one end or just handing it in yourself onto the conveyor and then pressing the pedal as it goes along. This is a horizontal band sealer, very straightforward, really low cost. These can be about £200. These are great machines, but you've got to put the food into a bag or a pouch. Now you can get great food pouches, and it means you can have a clear window on them. You can get all different types, just a clear plastic bag, but you put the food in first, and then as you can see there, push it in between the rotating belts, and then it heat seals it as it travels across. Really straightforward, a great little heat sealer, but that's all it does. It's just heat seal for you, there's no cutting. This is the impulse sealer. This is the go-to machine for just about everybody who first starts out baking at home. You can put any product into a bag and then hold the bag up to it and pull the handle down. Very straightforward, and you can get these for 30 to 50 pounds. Great wee machines, very robust, last for years. They're cheap and cheerful, and they just do one job, and they do it really well. It's not a long-term seal, so I do this for my own biscuits. With the plastic I'm using, I get about 6 months. But it's a great seal, it's easy to use, and it gets you started. This is another type of impulse sealer. It's a bit more manual. It's a little harder to feed the product into it if you've got a flexible product like a bag, but it's actually a better seal. This gives you a really good quality seal. So if you have a consistent shape like they're using here, then that gives you a really good quality seal. Again, it's manual, so it's not fast, but it's a good, thick, solid seal. Great for pouches, and as you can see there, like a thick foil pouches, works very well. Lastly, we have the mini bag sealer. So you get these super cheap. These are a couple of pounds. You get them on Amazon. It's great for testing. So if you're going to take a product to a market or a school fete or something, you would never use it in an actual commercial bakery because you can't guarantee the quality of the seal. So it takes a bit of fiddling with them to get them right, but it's not consistent. So you can melt through the plastic, you can seal it properly, you can have holes, you can have all sorts of issues, and you get lucky to get a good seal first time. So they're not for real commercial use. But if you've got a new product and you haven't got any bagging and you just want to get something to the market and try it out, but you want to seal it up, then that's a great way to go. So that's my roundup of little bagging machines, right up to the huge flow wrappers. Hopefully that helps you guide some of your decisions on what to go for to get a good seal for your food packaging.